to OSBA's Legal Ledger. I'm Sara Clark, and I'm joined today with Jenny Hardin, and we're going to be talking about levy campaigns today, right?
Yeah, that's right. We know as it rolls up into November, a lot of districts are in the middle of levy campaigns, and we wanted to take a minute and talk about some of the types of activities that are permissible and maybe more importantly impermissible related to a district's levy campaign.
That's right. And so let's start with our foundation in law, which for that we turn to 9.03 of the revised code, and that does three different things. So first, it prevents districts from using public funds to support or oppose the levy, the passage of a levy or a bond issue. Number two, it prevents districts from using public funds to compensate district employees for time that they spend on activities that are designed to influence the outcome of the election. And number three, it prevents a transfer of public funds from the district to the benefit of the levy committee.
So let's start off with the first one. What does the law mean when it says they can't spend public funds to support or oppose the passage of a levy? Does that mean the district can't create flyers about the levy or talk about the need for a levy?
No, not at all. So communications that are providing neutral, accurate, and factual information about the district's finances or the programs or the activities, the operations of the district, all of those things are permitted. So the key words here, though, are factual, accurate, and neutral. So communications that the district sends out can include things like, how much money the levy is going to generate, the consequences or potential consequences of either the defeat of the levy or what they're going to spend money on if the levy passes. Make sure, though, the key thing here again is that they're providing unbiased, sort of straightforward facts.
So the passionate and persuasive stuff, that has to come from the campaign committee for the levy.
Levy committee, exactly right. Yep.
Okay. So what about the levy committee's access to district resources? Can the district allow the levy committee to use its resources? I'm thinking like maybe the levy committee wants to have a meeting in a district auditorium or place an ad in the football program.
Yeah, generally that is going to be permitted. So important thing here is districts are going to look at their policies, make sure they're being applied appropriately within the policy and they're being applied consistently across all those groups. So if the district is charging a fee for the Boy Scouts to come in to use their space after hours or on the weekend, they would want to make sure that they're applying those same rules to the levy committee when they ask to use the space. For something like an ad, if they allow the pro-levy committee to use that ad or run an ad in the football program, they'd want to make sure that they're also allowing any anti-levy committee to run the ad in the football program as well.
Okay, so while we're talking about district resources, I'm assuming that the district's email system is a resource.
Yeah, that's right. And I think districts need to be careful about using that to push out communications to staff because of that. And, not only sort of to ask questions about whether that's using district funds to support or oppose the levy, but also because there's a separate statute that talks about and prohibits solicitations of political contributions from staff members while they're performing official duties or in areas of the public building where business is being transacted or conducted.
So that brings me to my next question, which is, what about when the employees aren't performing their official duties? Are there any restrictions on whether they can speak either in support of or opposition to the levy at that point?
That's a great question. So the statute that we've been talking about this whole time has a specific provision in it that says it doesn't prohibit a person from using their own time to speak in support of or in opposition to a levy.
Okay. But for some employees, what constitutes their own time is a difficult assessment. So like if I'm a teacher and I'm working from 7:30 to 4, it's going to be a lot easier for me to show that attending a 6 p.m. meeting in support of the levy is on my own time. Right. But what about other employees like the superintendent who don't work a regular schedule?
Yeah, honestly, I think this is the hardest part of complying with these laws. Before an employer or a public official sort of commits to those types of advocacy efforts, I'd encourage them to look at things like, are they attending this meeting during a board meeting or engaging in these advocacy efforts during a board meeting, a staff meeting, or some other sort of district-sponsored event where they're being paid to be there, or they're being introduced in their capacity as the superintendent, as you said, or as a district, another district employee. In those cases, it's a little bit trickier, right, to argue that you're there on your own time. On the flip side, if the employee is advocating while they're on paid time off, from the district, it's going to be easier for them to demonstrate that they're on their own time.
Right. And this may be a good time to mention that even during work time, employees can answer questions about the levy. They can provide neutral, accurate, factual information about the levy. It's just the advocacy, the persuasive stuff that's
right.
prohibited.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Well, I think this has been helpful. Do you have any other suggestions for resources that might be available to districts who are struggling with these questions?
Yeah, I do. So about a year ago, the Auditor of State, their office pushed out some guidance that I'd recommend that all districts review, but especially those that are on the ballot this November. It is set up, that guidance document is set up as a set of frequently asked questions that provides different scenarios, and then the Auditor of State sort of weighs in on whether they think it's permissible or impermissible under this statute that we've just been talking about. So we'll make sure to post a link to that guidance document in the blog post that accompanies this, so I'd encourage everybody to check that out.
So, and districts that have questions about language on a potential flyer or participation in an upcoming community event, they can run those questions by their legal counsel, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the right resource for them. They can always call OSBA to talk about the guidance document generally, but yes, absolutely work with board counsel if you have specific questions about, flyers or language that you want to use.
Well, Sara, thanks for inviting me to talk to you today about this issue. Hopefully this will be helpful to districts that are working on levy campaigns for this November.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining me, Jenny, and thank you for watching this sidebar. We hope you'll join us at another sidebar again in the future.